喂？喂？喂？我听不见。Sorry about that. If you know any Chinese other than ni hao, one word you're highly likely to know is the word "wey," usually yelled at 100 decibels on the phone by some middle-aged auntie or uncle. Well, say hello to WEY, the car brand. Founded in 2016 as an upmarket SUV brand from Great Wall, it vainly uses the family name of company chairman Wei Jianjun, or Jack Wei in English. Sales commenced in 2017 with the VV7. What we're driving today is the VV7 GT, which launched earlier this year, which WEY refers to as having a fastback coupe style. The GT comes in 3 main versions. The standard model, which comes in 2 trim levels, a PHEV performance model, and the Brabus limited edition pimped up version. The car has GT in its name, and indeed it looks like an American muscle car, one that's been put through a crusher and then jacked up. Up to the C-pillar, the car is largely identical to the original VV7. With its angular final window and the shark tooth on the roof, it cuts an aggressive stance. In fact, Great Wall refers to the front as having a panther-like bionic face, whatever that means. A flowing waistline running from behind the front wheels creates an angular look, with the roofline flowing down into it at the back. Despite the squat look created by the line running down from the roof to the rear hatch, it is in fact slightly longer than the regular VV7, measuring in 4,774 millimeters. Not only is it quite a big SUV, but its wheelbase is quite long at 2,950 millimeters. With WEY, Great Wall sets out to create an upmarket brand, whereas previously Chinese brands occupied the cheaper segments of the market. One of the most visual cues of luxury when it comes to cars is the interior. It's not only about materials, but the overall aesthetics, how well things are thought out, and just generally how everything integrates together. There is obviously some similarity with the current Mercedes interior look, with circular air vents including a triple cluster in the center of the dashboard and the floating infotainment system. The air vents look quite retro-styled, as if they should be in a car from the 70s or 80s. While the material standards aren't quite as bad as that vintage, they certainly don't meet contemporary luxury standards. Our car is in the top of the range ultimate trim. Prices for the standard VV7 GT models start at RMB 191,800 and go up to RMB 205,800. That's about 23,800 euros to 25,500. The Brabus and PHEV versions are considerably more expensive. While soft touch materials are attempted, they're not even as good as, say, in a Geely. The electric backrest adjuster on the seat also has rough, sharp edges, which I thought I'd cut myself on. Where the car does better is with the equipment level, with items such as 360-degree surround camera for reversing, necessity given the near zero visibility otherwise in confined spaces. There is also a digital rear view mirror. While legroom in the back is quite good, I can only comfortably fit 3 fingers between my head and the roof. I'm about 1.75 meters. Passengers also get air vents and USB chargers. There is an electric tailgate for access to a rather small boot space which offers no parcel shelf. The seat folding mechanism is overly complicated, requiring using 2 hands, one on catch right at the tailgate and the other at the top of the seat. Core to the powertrain of all versions of the VV7 is the combination of a 2-litre turbo unit and 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox. Power is a highly respectable 167 kilowatts, 224 horsepower. Earlier, I referred to the Brabus version as pimped. That was deliberate. It hasn't been tuned, and the engine delivers exactly the same power as in the standard GT. In fact, if performance is your main consideration, the PHEV version is the one for you. When driving, one of the first things you notice is that the acceleration is quite brisk. The GT does the Century 0 to 62 miles per hour in 7.3 seconds, which is over 1 second faster than the regular VV7, thanks to what WEY calls a catapult launch system. It is accompanied by a synthetic engine noise, which at first is entertaining, but after a while becomes quite annoying. There are 3 driving modes: Eco, Normal and Sport. There doesn't seem to be that much difference between Eco and Normal, but in Sport there is a discernible difference with the acceleration. One plus point with the car is the Powertrain integration, plus it also has paddle shifters. Although the suspension is a little less soft than on some Chinese cars, it could be tighter. The car with its relatively long wheelbase is certainly set up more for comfort, and equally, as it's only front-wheel drive, it has no off-road capability. Steering is a bit tighter and more refined than in many of the local competitors, but again, it is far from European standards. What is also worth mentioning is how bad the fuel economy is. The official figure is 7.7 litres per 100 kilometres, but our car is currently showing over 20. The accuracy is also questionable, because at some points it shows 0, especially when you lift your foot off the accelerator. One way of rectifying this would be possibly fitting some sort of stop-start system. 12 years back, I drove the Great Wall Hover and labelled the car pretty vacant. A lot has happened in the intervening time. Firstly, Hover became a separate brand, Harvel, and today Great Wall mainly produces pickup trucks and SUVs. Great Wall has become one of the 3 private companies leading the emergence of the mainstream Chinese car industry. WEY is a statement of that emergence and the intent of taking it further. Originally, the brand was meant to be China only, but for some years they've had the name WEY registered in Australia, and now they're talking about exporting to as yet unnamed markets. The problem is, while they've come a long way, there is still a long way to go. This car, despite having some nice features and being quite entertaining to drive, is simply not a competitor for premium brands. It's more of a competitor for, say, Ford or Volkswagen.